In a world often divided by difference, the call for interfaith understanding rings clearer than ever. The divisions we see are not just lines on a map, but barriers in our hearts and minds that prevent us from truly connecting with one another. Across the globe, people of diverse faiths and beliefs are seeking common ground, recognizing the inherent dignity and worth of every individual. They are coming together in unprecedented ways, forming bonds that transcend religious and cultural boundaries. It is a journey that requires courage, compassion, and a willingness to challenge long-held assumptions. It means stepping out of our comfort zones and opening our hearts to those who may seem different from us. This is the story of one Ghanaian pastor who embarked on such a journey, inspiring his congregation and community to embrace the transformative power of interfaith dialogue and respect. His efforts have shown that when we come together, we can create a ripple effect of positive change. His message is simple yet profound. We are all children of God, deserving of respect and understanding. He emphasizes that our differences should not divide us but rather enrich our collective experience. By recognizing our shared humanity, we can begin to bridge the divides that separate us and build a more just and peaceful world for all. It is through these small acts of kindness and understanding that we lay the foundation for a future where everyone feels valued and included. Ghana, a nation on the west coast of Africa, boasts a rich tapestry of faiths and cultures. Christianity and Islam have long coexisted in this vibrant nation, shaping its social fabric and influencing its values. Yet misconceptions and stereotypes can still linger, hindering genuine understanding and fostering division. In many communities, individuals grow up with limited exposure to faiths different from their own, leading to misunderstandings and prejudices. This was the reality for many members of the pastor's congregation. Raised within a predominantly Christian community, they held preconceived notions about Islam and its followers. These assumptions, often rooted in fear and misinformation, created a barrier to meaningful interaction and understanding. Our story's pastor, a man deeply committed to his Christian faith, felt a growing unease about the stereotypes and misconceptions prevalent within his community. He believed that such divisions contradicted the very essence of love and compassion preached by Jesus Christ. Inspired by his faith and driven by a thirst for knowledge, he embarked on a personal journey to learn more about Islam. He engaged in conversations with Muslim scholars and community leaders, immersing himself in Islamic teachings and practices. Through these interactions, he began to see beyond the stereotypes and appreciate the profound beauty and wisdom embedded within Islam. He discovered shared values of compassion, social justice, and a deep reverence for the divine. The pastor was particularly struck by the beauty and significance of Islamic rituals, which he found to be deeply rooted in faith and devotion. He observed how these practices fostered a profound connection with God and cultivated a sense of spiritual grounding among Muslims. The discipline and regularity of these rituals resonated with his own Christian beliefs, highlighting the universality of seeking communion with the divine. He recognized that these practices were not merely empty rituals but rather outward expressions of an inner commitment to faith and a desire to live a life pleasing to God. This realization ignited within him a deep respect for Islam and a desire to share his newfound understanding with his congregation. Section 5. Finding Common Ground, Prayer, and Purity. In this section we explore the profound connections between different faiths through the lens of prayer and the pursuit of purity. One of the first Islamic practices that resonated deeply with the pastor was the practice of daily prayer, known as salat. This ritual, performed 5 times a day, serves as a constant reminder of the presence of God in every aspect of life. He saw in it a parallel to the Christian emphasis on prayer and the importance of maintaining a constant dialogue with God. Just as Christians seek to connect with the divine through prayer, Muslims too find solace and guidance in their regular prayers. He was moved by the dedication and sincerity with which Muslims approach their prayers, prostrating themselves before God in humility and submission. This act of bowing down, touching the forehead to the ground, symbolizes the ultimate act of devotion and surrender to the Almighty. He also admired the Islamic emphasis on physical and spiritual cleanliness, particularly the ritual ablution performed before prayer. This cleansing process, known as wudu, involves washing specific parts of the body to prepare oneself for the sacred act of prayer. This practice resonated with his own understanding of the importance of approaching God with a clean heart and mind. In Christianity, the act of washing hands before prayer can also be seen as a symbolic gesture of purification and readiness to communicate with the divine. He saw in it a beautiful expression of the interconnectedness of the physical and spiritual in Islamic tradition. The act of cleansing oneself before prayer serves as a reminder that purity of body and soul are intertwined, and that approaching God requires both physical and spiritual preparation. Section 6. Honoring prophets past and present. The pastor's journey of discovery led him to appreciate the profound respect Muslims hold for all prophets, including Jesus Christ. He found it heartening that Islam recognizes Jesus as a revered prophet and messenger of God, born to the Virgin Mary. This realization challenged his previous assumptions and highlighted the common ground between the two faiths. He recognized that both Christianity and Islam share a rich prophetic tradition, emphasizing the importance of surrendering to God's will and striving to live a life of righteousness and compassion. This shared heritage, he believed, could serve as a bridge of understanding and respect between the two communities. Section 7. Embracing equality in the eyes of God. The pastor was also deeply moved by the Islamic emphasis on equality in worship. He found it inspiring to see how the mosque became a place where all social barriers were broken down, and everyone stood shoulder to shoulder, united in their devotion. He witnessed firsthand how Muslims from all walks of life, rich and poor, black and white, prayed side by side in the mosque, their social distinctions melting away in the presence of the divine. This profound sense of unity and equality left a lasting impression on him. This resonated with his own Christian belief in the equality of all people in the eyes of God. He saw a reflection of his faith's teachings in the way Muslims practice their worship, reinforcing his conviction that all humans are equal before the Creator. He saw in this a powerful testament to the unifying power of faith, and a challenge to the divisions and prejudices that too often plague human societies. The pastor believed that these moments of shared spirituality could serve as a bridge, bringing people of different backgrounds together. He believed that by embracing the principles of equality and justice espoused by both faiths, communities could create a more just and equitable world for all. He envisioned a future where interfaith collaboration would lead to stronger, more inclusive communities where everyone is valued and respected. Section 8. Challenging preconceptions, inspiring dialogue. Empowered by his newfound understanding, the pastor felt a moral imperative to share his insights with his congregation. He began incorporating his observations about Islam into his sermons, challenging his parishioners to question their preconceptions and embrace a more nuanced understanding of their Muslim neighbors. He urged them to see beyond the stereotypes and recognize the shared values and aspirations that unite people of faith. His message was met with mixed reactions. Some members of his congregation were inspired by his courage and openness, embracing his call for interfaith dialogue and understanding. Others, however, clung to their preconceptions, resistant to challenging their long-held beliefs. Section 9. A ripple effect of understanding. Despite the challenges, the pastor's message began to resonate within his community and beyond. His willingness to challenge stereotypes and build bridges of understanding sparked conversations and fostered a greater appreciation for religious diversity. His example inspired other faith leaders to engage in interfaith dialogue, creating a ripple effect of understanding and respect. His efforts demonstrated that interfaith dialogue is not about diluting one's faith or compromising one's beliefs, but rather about recognizing the inherent dignity of every individual, regardless of their religious background. Section 10. Building Bridges of Respect and Compassion. The Ghanaian pastor's story is a testament to the transformative power of interfaith understanding. His journey reminds us that we have more in common than that which divides us. By embracing humility, respect, and open-mindedness, we can begin to bridge the divides that separate us and build a more just and peaceful world for all. Let us all heed his call to action, reaching out to those of different faiths with open hearts and minds. In doing so, we can create a world where understanding triumphs over ignorance, and compassion paves the way for a brighter future for all.